my job's not all that tough, but then I think of all the stuff I do to get the business. And it's like, that's what that's what you're paying for, or the expertise now of, being a broker, doing that. And then obviously having the years of experience and, leveraging my experiences. That's what you pay for.
Thank you for joining us on the Evolve Your Brand podcast. I'm your host, Olia Merkes, and just want to give a huge shout out to Icon Industries, Shane ×3, because you love yourself so much. Steven, what can I say, bro? You're a genius waiting to happen every single day. I love you. And all the other people that make this show possible. Without further ado, I got Ryan Stevens on.
What's up, yo?
Welcome, my man. So my man is an entrepreneur. He owns a media company. He's got some really, really cool projects coming. So you got Let's Tune In Media. You got Let's Talk Real Estate. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me, honestly.
When's the last time you were a guest on a podcast?
Probably a couple months.
Okay.
A couple months.
So
I'm a little rusty.
We got to make this a regular thing, bro. Like off camera, you're probably not going to see the footage, but we were laughing our asses off. I don't think I've laughed that hard. So let's jump into, you said you're San Diego born and raised, right?
Yeah, born and raised San Diego.
So how does the Ryan
Express
journey Express? But Ryan, how does the Ryan Express go?
Oh,
how did that get started?
I grew up in East County, which was awesome. Then my parents at a young age got separated, and I ended up moving North County to Scripps Ranch, and then I came back to East County. So it's been awesome because I went to 3 high schools, which I'm really thankful now because it helped me network with more people than I could imagine. So, but yeah, so did that, went to school, was working 3 jobs, working at Starbucks at 3:30 in the morning, which is dreadful. But then I was going to school. I was working at the nightclub, and then I was working at the Sheridan on Harbor Drive. And I was working all these jobs, and one of the entrepreneurs in San Diego was like, Ryan, you need to get into your real estate license. I was like, really? And she's like, yeah, if you get your real estate license, you will absolutely dominate your industry, I believe, because of your work ethic and your personality. And again, I said, okay, well, I'll try. And a lot of people don't know this, but I failed my real estate exam 10 times, passed on my 11th. And it's funny because people would go, well, Ryan, why would you share that? That's kind of silly, and now that I'm a broker, I believe in telling this story because as somebody whose father has his Juris Doctorate and his law degree or law, bar, I think it's important that in life, it's about facing failures. It's about refacing them and overcoming them, and how important that is, regardless if it's embarrassing or not. Because like my dad told me, Ryan, I went to community college, and it never shows that on your Juris Doctorate diploma. All it shows is that you got your Juris Doctorate. And I think it just is something that's so important for people to realize, especially in times like right now, where I feel like so many people are feeling unsuccessful. They're feeling a lack of motivation, a lack of self-confidence, that, in moments that I was sitting in my car going, what's wrong with me? Why can't I pass this test? It's not that hard, at least I feel like, and again, after so many times of seeing that failure, but continuously going back and then feeling that victory was so worth it. So
how come you didn't get defeated?
Because I knew in my heart and my soul that you got to continue to keep going. In life, it's not about, how many times you get knocked down. It's about how many times you get back up. And that's what true success is. And I think a lot of people forget that. And a lot of people, don't read enough of, how Walt Disney and all these different icons of, just multiple groups of people are able to succeed against so many different adversities and different things. I think it's just so important, especially on your show here today, just talk about those things and how real it really is for so many people that are struggling. And as I continue to open up my eyes, because I'm currently kind of downtown with my girlfriend here and there, and I still go to my place in La Mesa, but it's walking every morning and seeing so many homeless people and so many opportunities of people that I know in my heart that could change their lives and to be better and do better for the greater good.
So you're in your late 20s.
Yep.
My question for you is, how come you even care?
I care because I believe if you don't care, then I believe in life you have to have purpose. You have to have a heart that wants to do good and believes in doing the right thing and helping people grow and evolve. And I believe in my heart, everybody's got a purpose.
Yeah.
And I believe that sometimes there's so much darkness in their life and there's so many shadows that are, over them that they don't see the light just yet. And sometimes you need to be that light. And that's sometimes, why I feel like I'm still here. Every year for my birthday, I donate food to different nonprofits and, organizations. And I thank God for another year of life. And, that I'm kind of reminding myself, what am I doing here? And how can I continue to be a positive impact while I'm present? So hopefully that answers your question.
Where did you pick up that philosophy in life?
I feel like I picked up that philosophy in life when I was about 12 to 13 years old, when my parents were going through the divorce, and I saw my life kind of shatter from being in a very well-off home, and then obviously kind of going through the motions of what it's like to live on sleeping on the couch, or just kind of going through the motions of something that was different to me, and understanding that everybody's got different life challenges, and you want to do whatever you can to just be the best influence, be the best role model, be the best at whatever you can do to help the next person, and to, learn how to be the positive in the negative wherever you can be. Be the lion in the den of darkness, if per se. And I just think it's really important. And I think it's really something that you kind of learn as you progress in life, and you see other people making mistakes, and you think, okay, I'm not going to do that. Try to always, the biggest advice I try to tell people is, if you can learn from other people's mistakes and just be very, observe, be observant, check out what people are doing, see, okay, is this working? Is this not working? What's the impact to that? Be meaningful with everything that you do in life, and try to be powerful in the ways that you're gifted to, that your gifts are. I feel like it's important to know your gifts too.
Yeah. You're talking about your zone of genius and how you leverage it to make a difference in other people's lives.
Yeah.
Be the positive and the negative.
Yeah. I don't know if that makes any sense.
It does.
You think
that was
so?
fire.
Cool. All right, cool.
That was good. That was Brian Stevens' quote. You're going to see fucking shirts. It's going to say, be the Brian, it hits home with me because, like, you're on social media, you see all the content that's produced. Mm-hmm. And we had a very interesting conversation about the hype content. Mm-hmm. Everything in the world is fantastic in my life. All the roses always smell great. That's not life. That's not real. I think when you see social media is the best of most people.
Oh, totally.
Like that's their very best.
Oh yeah.
I'd much rather have the real shit.
Totally.
Like today was a fucking horrible day, but I still made the best of it because I refuse to bring the negative to negative.
Yeah.
So when you say like that summed it up beautifully, I don't think we need a lot of words to make sense of this world. You know, be the positive in all the negative.
Well, and I've found it to be something that I was doing back then is I was overcomplicating things.
Yeah.
And I was overthinking things, which caused anxiety, stress, and other, things that really altered my vision and my purpose. And so I think it's really important to know your value and know who you are and really take this time as we come into, the new year to write down your goals. Write down what if I do this, what's going to be the, cause and effect of how I'm going to be able to do this and this. So, definitely taking these different attributes and finding what you're good at and finding what you love and mixing that passion in there. And you might not be the best at it sometimes. Sometimes you just kind of fall into things and then you make the best out of it. Yeah. So that's been some of the story too. And people always kind of ask me, "Oh, Ryan, I saw you were with this person or this person." And I tell people, I sometimes I don't even know how I get there. I just end up being there, and but I'm present. I'm in the moment, and I I'm genuine about it. I'm not forcing anything to happen that makes things feel uncomfortable. Because I do believe in energy, and I do believe in being at the right place at the right time, and doing and having the right mindset and being a good person, because I do believe the universe or God blesses those who are trying to do the right things.
Yeah. What does a good person mean to you? Like, what's Ryan's definition of a good person?
My definition of a good person is somebody who really does care and is somebody that's there to listen, somebody that's there to also, tell you the truth and give you the right advice, and somebody that really does care about you more than you sometimes even care about yourself. Like there's so many people that forget about sacrifice and in relationships, and whether it's personal, whether it's business relationships, try to teach those, teach other or treat others as you would treat yourself. I feel like that is how I've lived my life. Okay, if I do this for this person, is this what I would want for me? And that's what's made it really, I feel like, a simple life and an easy life, and just not having to second guess or make up stories or even dance around. Some people, they lying, or they have to get out of, trying to figure out how they're going to cover up for something that they feel like they did, the wrong thing. Like I go to sleep every night knowing that I've done everything. I've looked at everything. I double cross-examine in my head, like, okay, how can this work? Or what's, and I tell people, if this is an issue, this is going to be the issues. I'm upfront about things, which, so they know. I just believe, being a good person is doing the right things, being upfront, putting, people first, which,
How come? So in from the real estate side of it, you talked about like being open, being honest, communicating that stuff. How come from your experience, you said you had one of your best years last year in real estate. How do you think being honest and truthful and sharing with people, how do you think that helps you be as successful as you are as a real estate agent?
Because people are referring me based on my genuineness with them. They know that they're getting a real person. They know they're getting, I feel like, nobody wants to be bought, sold. Nobody wants to be, they just want the best results, the truth. And I feel like something that is kind of dying, in this younger generation, is just the genuineness. I feel like there's just a lot of and not trying to knock, my generation by any means, but I feel like, people think short term.
Yeah.
You have to always think long term. Most of my clients are 65 and up. And I have such an awesome relationship with these folks. And I feel like, and just from, what I hear and what they tell me, it's, it's refreshing because, I feel like a lot of the younger generation, they're thinking too short term. And they're thinking, okay, well, maybe they didn't need to know this and this, or I don't know. They just, I feel like they're not thinking of the longevity of that relationship, which you have to have.
What taught you, like you're talking about sacrifice and leaning into hardship. Okay. What made the difference for you where you lean into the hardship and you don't let it impact your mindset? Because you also talked about that. You talked about energy. So I could feel that, you really keep a level head, like shit's going to go wrong. That's part of life. Nothing's going to be perfect. So what have you learned over your years that helps you really keep yourself level-headed and keep that sharp mindset?
Meditate. Meditation has been something that I've really stayed focused on. I take time before I speak, on something very serious. I try to get all the facts. Again, I believe, a lot of people kind of just run to the, just to the scenario that they think is going to be this way or this way. And they kind of create it in their head when really you need to kind of get everything, write it down. I write everything down. My whole thing is, I write everything down. I take time. I think, how am I going to, demonstrate this, or how am I going to do this? And I think it's really important to lean into those hardships and meditate on those. And also, figure out, okay, what's the next thing? I'm here in this position. I'm present right now. I'm not going to be anxious for the future, or too futuristic, because that's what I've found to be something that my mind likes to do. I get so excited because I have all these things going on in my head. And I try to stay grateful for where I'm at. And then I figure out the game plan on how I'm going to go against, the hardships. But, it's weird because even with anxiety, because I've done a lot of research on anxiety, and it's like when you push anxiety away, or you have panic attacks, or you're afraid of it, then it grows.
Yeah.
So, but and one analogy was, if you treat it as if it's next to you and it's your friend, and you put it in this, you treat it as a dog or a cat or whatever, and you go, okay, I understand you're there, and, but you're not afraid of it. You dismantle it by, making it kind of not as fearful, or a fear factor. It's really important that's how I kind of, move the anxiety or the issues that is next to me. I'm thinking, okay, how can I take care of it?
Yeah.
So I gotta just move it to that.
What you're talking about it is interesting. You're talking about mindfulness and awareness. And I think sometimes we get so, it's that emotional stability, that mental emotional stability, it takes work, and it's like, if you don't lean into it and you don't dissect what is causing the fear and ask those good questions.
Yeah, because most people run away from it.
Well, of course, like it's easier to run away.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And that's why I think being an entrepreneur or having entrepreneurial goals is kind of dying, because a lot of people don't want to take those risks. And that's the other thing. It's risks. You got to take risks. In anything that you do, because you never know what's going to come of it. So
what was the risk you were taking when you opened up the studio? You said, Let's Tune In Media was 2022?
22, yeah. 22. So we've been around for about a year, a year and a half.
And what was the risk when you were starting it?
The risk was obviously the expense up front. Obviously the camera, everything's so expensive. I definitely...
Did you hear that?
Yeah, I definitely don't take things for granted as much
What did you take for granted?
I felt like, even when videographers,
Yeah.
or, they would want to charge this much or that much for doing, whether it's, listing stuff or just, videography work on the side for my own stuff. I thought, oh my gosh, this is expensive. They're charging a lot, this is a lot of money. But now that I see the cost and I'm able to run a business that I can actually see the money coming in and the money coming out, it's definitely made me more grateful for people that are, I shouldn't say trying to survive, because I don't think that's the right verbiage for it, but I do think, it is something that most people don't understand the cost of that comes into this. Yeah. The overhead and the cameras and the people and the employees, everything. It's a lot.
Everybody wants the
liability.
Content, they don't want to pay for it.
Well, exactly, and that's something that I definitely have been seeing a lot with even my studios. It's all this different and it's tough because it's so much time. People don't see the edit. The edits. Editing is possibly 2 to 3 times more time than the stuff we're doing here right now. Yeah. So
this is an hour of recording with 3 to 4 hours of edits.
Yeah.
It's insane.
And then people want to pay for the hour, or they'll go, oh, I only want to be here for 30 minutes. Well, yeah, but it's the 10 clips that you guys want or anything else. And again, but I've definitely opened up, and this is the cool thing about being entrepreneurial is try to open things up, and then you never know what you're going to learn, and you're going to figure out, okay, wow, this isn't, because it's like when people go, oh, being a real estate agent, that's easy, probably, you just never know. Or there's people that make things seem possibly easier.
Yeah.
And I even sometimes feel like, oh, my job's not all that tough, but then I think of all the stuff I do to get the business, and it's like that's what I'm, that's what you're paying for, or the expertise now of being a broker, doing that, and then obviously having the years of experience and, leveraging my experiences. That's what you pay for. That's what,
And that's what it is. Like being a professional in any space. I don't think it really matters. A professional to me, like I've been working on my relationship building with everyone, because I don't look at, the people, the families and investors that I help. I look at them as people, not as compensation, and I think that's in certain industries, like you look at real estate, that it is very transactional for most people. And I think that's where you lose the connection, and sales has just become an exchange of money. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And in real estate, it's hard. I've had a hard time. Like, how can something so meaningful in most people's lives, whether they're buying an asset, they're buying their primary home, they're buying their second home, it's a very personal experience. Like, that's where you create memories. I attach a completely different meaning. So what does it mean to you, like being a real estate agent? Because you're different than most of the agents that I meet. So, like, how come you're approaching it differently?
Because I love people. I don't love real estate. I love the people that I represent. I love I go into a property. I like, obviously, all the decor, or the attributes that the property does bring value with, but I do think it's the relationships that I'm building, the trust that they're entrusting in me, in which I take that very seriously, in which I believe it's my job to do everything in my power to help them, and make sure that they're getting the best deal possible. And, really, I call myself more than a negotiator than anything.
Yeah.
Because I believe that's what they're hiring me to do.
And that's, I would advise most people that are looking for a real estate agent, have them definitely ask, what is their skill set when it comes to negotiation? Because the agents that I meet that are top-notch negotiators, they get shit done.
Oh, totally. Well, and that's what makes them the best in their industry, or in any industry that would be. But I do believe in, negotiate, make sure that you're, and also sometimes if you're not the perfect, I don't know. It's so many different scenarios, whether it's lending, again, you want to make sure that they're getting, the best rate, and again, there's been times where, we, get them another, individual for looking at, home warranties or whatever. I think, like I tell my clients, we are the ones in the car. It's just us, and we're driving to the destination. And the goal is to everything exterior and making sure that you have a good lender, which is really important because these things are going to make or break this deal or really impact, like the lender really is, I feel like, probably the most important in the transaction. Yeah, I think so. Like I do think lenders are, I shouldn't say undervalued because I don't, know if that's true necessarily, but I do think having the correct lender is so important. It's more important than I think anything else because the numbers and how you dial things in is really important.
Ryan, being a mortgage advisor, I got to be upfront with you. Like with the team, I always say we're quarterbacking every file.
Yeah.
We have to.
Yeah.
Like because without money, you can't really get much done. Without having the connections of what problems people are looking to solve, you can't come up with the right solutions. So speaking of that, right now, I actually got a call. I'm in a on a purchase deal. So we're going to take a break in about 2 minutes because here's what you said. Like if it would have been anybody else, it would have been like, yeah, I have a 911. We have a closing tonight. This is really important. It really is. But do you know what's more important is to be able to take a step back because normally my team would do this, but they're calling me. So there's got to be something going on. And to me, this is a very important connection. But at the same exact point,
so that client,
what is that family doing? This is my family that's buying their second house in Tahoe. We've already had all kinds of delays for First American. So guess what? I'm going to stop doing what I'm doing. I'm going to apologize to you and say, hey, by the way, Ryan, you're a people guy. You understand this when a fire is burning and there's no fire here. And I want to make sure it stays that way.
No worries.
You get what I'm saying? Like I appreciate what you said because I don't hear that many real estate agents starting and talking about people.
Well, again,
because
that's the short term.
You brought up.
That's the short term. They're thinking short term. They're not thinking long term. There's clients that I said, I don't know if right now is the time to do what you're thinking about doing. Consult a financial advisor. I think, and I'm going to actually probably try to implement it this year, that I'm going to try to get financial advising, or connect the dots, hopefully. Because I think that's smart. Why wouldn't we want that?
Okay, so let's touch on this.
And even if it comes down to the financial advisor, because maybe don't buy a house yet. Maybe next year, maybe 2 years, maybe that might be the best thing. If that person's doing that, then that's what I think should, that's where it needs to be. Because I don't want people calling me in 6 months.
See, and that,
hey, I hate, what the hell? I'm losing my house.
That is the reason why I don't, if you look at my social media, I don't post a lot of agents because if I'm posting an agent's content on my social media, I believe in who that person is and their character. Because I want to promote
good people,
anyone. Regardless of industry, good people that do things for the right reasons and they understand their value. And if you want good and you want talent and professionals, it's okay to pay for it. As a money person, I would encourage you to pay for it because people that care about you will help you achieve your goals quicker and you'll end up winning in the long run.
I 100% agree. I really appreciate you having me on. It's always fun to talk
sit
about
on that chair instead of
well, and it's always cool because again, not a lot of people know certain things about me that I actually do like sharing, like failing the 10th time. Like
I think that's great.
Always like, what? And then it's funny, he's like, I got my broker's license. So it's like,
and here's why I love that. Here's why I love that because you were passionate about it and it didn't matter what challenge was set in front of you. You were just going to get there. Like it's unbelievable to me that you kept going, you kept going. And that's what I'm trying to teach my boys right now, Luke, Hunter, and Trevor, which is hard things. You become hard by doing hard things. You become hard by doing hard things. You don't become hard by doing easy shit.
No, that's why it's really, scary times right now because we're allowing easier stuff to happen and we need to continue to be pushing forward, instead of accepting failure. So,
which is so much easier to do because there's no pain involved in it.
No, there's no pain. There's the only thing that I could see there being is on your deathbed when you're going, oh, I wish I didn't live my life just missing out on all opportunities.
Yeah.
And not fulfilling that purpose, whatever that is.
It's funny that you bring that up because a lot of the thought leaders and stuff that I listen to, they're always thinking about like, hey, do you really want to have regret on your deathbed?
Yeah.
Do you really want to? Like, because what I don't want to do is I got one life to live. Let's fucking live it. Go take the risk, It's so funny that you brought up giving back and really helping solve problems for people and having the patience to wait for the time that's right for them.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of times I'm encouraged to make choices that aren't in the best interest of the people that I'm there to serve because someone else thinks that they want the transaction's done quicker.
Oh, totally.
I'm sorry. I don't care.
Yeah.
No, I care about the people.
Well, and that's the tough thing. And that's something that I feel like I've heard stories or I've, known of people in the industry that are really pushing their client to do, something that may or may not, I don't know. It's tough to predict, but it's definitely, it's like, that's why I kind of said what I said earlier, nothing by force is really good, so it's about letting things naturally happen and making sure that they're aware. And again, it was funny because it's kind of like, so I was telling somebody that I was really close with, I think even for like CCWs, I think it would be great if, maybe, just maybe, you should take a self-defense class before getting your CCW. Because if you do that, then it's like, hey, I wasn't able to protect myself. I tried, and I was still getting my butt whooped. And then I had to obviously progress in, escalation of, protecting myself. And that's something that, I think is important to kind of have those steps. And that's why I was thinking with the financial planning stuff, it would be good for people to go, maybe sit down with somebody like that. And, again, we can give you a list of 3, so whoever you like or whoever's cheaper or, just to kind of overlook your profile. So, maybe if you are, you can get approved, but, you may be really in a sticky situation, maybe, depending on your finances, I think it's just good for them to know as much as possible so they are fully aware.
Well, you're already different than 90% of, real estate agents in the sense that you're working on getting them financially aware.
I think that's important.
You can't even be financially educated until you're financially aware.
Well, yeah. And I'm not saying that's part of the job. Like it's not. It's
I think it is.
Yeah, I think it should be.
Yeah, I think it should
for
be
real estate agents, but they're not.
Huge.
I think a lot of people just go, okay, what house do you want to look for?
When did you get your license?
I got my license back in 2018.
Beautiful. 2018 to the home prices today in San Diego.
Yeah. Oh, that's perfect.
It's exponentially different.
Oh, totally.
Night and day different.
Yeah, it might be 2 or 3 times possibly.
Isn't that insane? Like, I think, there aren't a lot of, I don't want to throw around the COVID thing, but people discovered what an incredible city San Diego is during COVID.
Yeah.
So our home prices have exploded. They're not going anywhere. Like people that talk about a market crash, there might be market crashes across the U.S. I just don't think it's going to happen in San Diego.
Yeah. And I think that is something that is going to be interesting to see. It depends. Obviously, the elections this year, we should be seeing, interest rates cut. Obviously, you would know more than I. Hopefully, I think right now, they're in the 6s.
Yeah, we've had, so at the beginning of the new year, it's always a crapshoot. Are they going to go down or are they going to go up? The past 2 days, they've gone up.
Oh, wow.
So that's how.
You never know.
It doesn't know.
And with the Federal Reserves and it's everybody's moving their stuff around.
I studied this for a living, and I don't know what the fuck the Federal Reserve is going to do because who knows? It's the government.
Yeah, it's the government.
It's the government.
They can do whatever they want.
They can do whatever they want, and they have been. Like they. So
and I think what's really dangerous. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, not at all.
I think a lot of it's funny because I keep my mouth shut on a lot of things, especially with my clients, because I don't know. And I'm not afraid to say that. A lot of agents,
I don't have a problem.
A lot of agents want to be the know-it-alls, and I won't. You're never gonna catch me going, I know this. No, I don't know. It's hard to, because people always go, Ryan, do you think our rate's gonna go down? I don't know. You're taking a risk on something that I don't know.
I love what you're bringing up, because that's the transparency I think we need in all industries. Automobile, it doesn't matter.
Oh no, yeah, any industry.
Upfront,
oh, totally.
In sales, the reason why I think sales has a bad reputation, in my opinion, is because it's become deception. And manipulation.
To some extent it is.
Yeah. So I just feel in like transparency, like, hey, do you know how I pick a sales professional? It's, do they actually take the time to get to know me and what problem I'm trying to solve? That's it.
Yeah. And do they listen? And did they, and then it's funny because some of my clients, I'll go, hey, if this is your payment right now with this interest rate, just, talk to the lender, but just kind of that's the numbers. Like
make sure you're bought in on that number.
That's what I would go by. That's the truth. Like and I just think the most dangerous person you could talk to in any industry is the person that knows everything and knows it all and has the arrogance, and so again, I try to really surround myself with people that are always trying to learn, always trying to evolve in their knowledge of whatever they're doing. And, that's what I think is really important. And I think that's, something that my worst nightmare is any client or person calling me going, oh, that was, we shouldn't have done that, because I'm trying to avoid that. So how do I avoid that? I try to get them to the right people as possible. And if they have multiple agents they're working with, then talk to all of them. Go ahead. See what they want, see what they're telling you. You're not going to get anything out of me saying like, oh, this was the best time to buy ever. Nope, not saying that. I don't say that stuff. I don't know. And and it's funny because a lot of the people that post content, a lot of realtors I'm watching that are posting content, I think with my brain, a lot of the time legalities. How could this look if I was in a court room? And I'm pushing this stuff out. So
I love the fact that you're looking at your social responsibility.
Well, yeah,
to put out accurate information. I mean, liability is one thing. Social obligation and responsibility are two different things.
Yeah.
What I don't understand is when I see real estate agents that are not lenders posting rates and doing those types of things. That's a very dangerous.
Oh, it's completely dangerous.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, to some degree, our industry, and why I've kind of in a odd way have pivoted a little bit outwards with media and talent agency and stuff like that, is because it has become a little bit of the Wild West, and it seems like there's not as many, like obviously there's rules and regulations, but it just seems like people are posting things that are a little reckless, and definitely scary when I see it. So God knows what you see on your side. But I see stuff that I'm like, oh, I wouldn't have. But I don't know. But it's
Ryan,
it's a trip.
That's how come we're doing this. That's how come we're telling stories of good people doing great things in the community. It's about social equity. To me, the way I look at it, by introducing and giving people an opportunity to see Ryan, the true Ryan. Like, who's Ryan for real? Because I don't want the real estate agent that's driving a Ferrari. Amazing. What an incredible way to connect with people. Like, because what I want to do is when an agent is connecting with me or a lender, I really want to check out your Ferrari and all the cool things. How am I going to relate with you?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you a cool story if you want to talk about
I love
luxury stuff. I was during COVID, one of my wealthier friends, his dad called me, and they were in Hawaii, and during COVID, like it was like, they're shutting down California. So he goes, screw it, I'll fly to Hawaii. We're going to go out to Hawaii. And I'm sitting in one of his properties, that's, three stories on the water on Coast Boulevard in La Jolla. And, there was a Bentley in the garage, Range Rover, all the luxury cars that you could think of. And I'm standing there, I'm looking out the window, looking out on the ocean, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, imagine if right now you have $50 million in the bank, you own this house. You have those cars in the garage. You can do whatever you want, practically, somewhat. You know, this is all yours. And in that moment, I had a deep realization that it didn't change my mood. It was the weirdest thing. I still felt, because I was in this ginormous house, there was nobody there. I felt this sense of just, this wouldn't make me happier. And it was, that's why I always, and talking about Ferraris or these cars and all these cool things that I've driven a lot of those things. I've done a lot of those things. And I haven't posted half of them, not because I owned them, because I don't, but I've wanted to always test ride things. I've always loved being curious and seeing what it's like to, feel that
what's all the hype
energy
about?
or hype, know, and it's funny because that was one of the moments in my life that I'll never forget. Just during COVID, while everybody was worried about their jobs, they're worried about all these things and, how to get toilet paper and this and that. And I'm just thinking to myself, okay, let's say I have it all. For most people, that'd be what having it all looks like. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe it's a family, small picket house fence in the middle of nowhere. I don't know. But I just remembered, that's when I was like, money doesn't buy happiness. That's why being happy.
That was the moment?
That was the moment, really, like that I really was able to dive deeper than I ever have before and really realize it deeper because I was standing in it. I was living in it. I was staying at this guy's house for 2 months. I was driving his car.
What triggered you to think that
way? Because I felt like the world was in such disarray of, stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, because people are in lockdown, probably with their family, their in-laws, their boyfriend's mom, whatever, you got all these people kind of like, especially in California when you got so many like people moving in together, you got to reverse. You don't got people moving out. You got most people moving back in. And that's definitely during COVID. And that's why I feel like the boom was so big, was because people were thinking, if I see my grandma one more time, I'm going to lose it. Like, I got to get out. I got to buy something. I got to do something. And I think that's what was a part of it. Obviously, interest rates was a part of it.
Right.
Of people going, I need to get out of my parents' house. Like, I can't live with them. This is a 4-bedroom, and
so
that's what I'm thinking. It was a part of it.
There was an awakening that happened during that period of time.
Yes. For me personally, but also for people all over the place. I think that's also what caused the housing boom for interest rates, but also just wanting to get out, be free, and have an opportunity to do that because of the interest rate.
You're the first agent I've heard talk about this as far as it put things in perspective, and I would say the stats support you, because when has home ownership been more important for millennials than when COVID happened?
Yeah.
Like, that's when the wake up call, like,
well, think about you're being forced back to move in with your family.
Yeah.
You got so many things going on, with, the price of everything. You got a lot of moving pieces. You got a lot of people moving things around to make it more accommodating to most families, and helping each other out, especially with today's economy more than ever. People are moving back in and figuring out, okay, you know what? We got to rent the house out because, I got let go, unfortunately, or, I'm not getting paid as much to now be able to keep the house to myself. I need to rent out a couple of the rooms, keep the mortgage going.
Savings at an all-time low, credit card debt at an all-time high.
Yeah, and then you got
affordability, wages haven't increased as exponentially as home prices have. Yeah. It's just a lot of delinquencies.
Yeah, delinquencies are up.
Well, I mean, but also you look at the car debt that most people took.
Oh yeah,
it's massive. Like
we had so much money flood the market during COVID.
Bingo.
And that was something that was huge too. So it's definitely, and again, I'm not a financial advisor by any means. And again, I'm just talking what I see.
Yeah, you're only
I'm just going with like,
you're only dealing with some of the most expensive real estate in the country right now. So no, I'm just saying, like, Ryan, if we take a step back and we look at the power of being a professional in real estate, there is a huge impact that we have on people's financial well-being in the future.
100%.
Like homeowners actually have their equity wealth is 40% higher than non-owners. And I'm not saying that people need to buy, but buying in California is a 2 to 3 to 4 year project now for some people.
I agree.
It really is. It's a long game. It's not a short game in California homeownership.
Well, like some people say, it's like having a membership to be here, which was a pretty interesting.
That's a great
clip I saw. And it was interesting. It's like, oh, this is you're buying into to be here.
Yeah.
Without
you know what my favorite
outpriced maybe in the future.
One my favorite. So I have a bunch of families that that live in the Bay Area in a really, really nice area. And they're like, if we sold our house, we would never be able to buy back in. And they're making in excess of $500,000 to $600,000 a year.
Wow.
And that's insane to me. They're like, if we sold now, we would never be able to get back into the community that we're in. Wow. That speaks volumes.
Yeah. And I've had clients tell me that too.
Totally.
That bought in, 2020, it's definitely interesting to see that some people wouldn't be able to currently live in the house if they had to buy it today.
So last question when it comes to real estate, that's fun, but I want to move on to let's talk about content and the media. But last question, what is the one thing that needs to change with the real estate industry to make it better in your opinion?
More transparency, more just awareness of what's going on.
More transparency about what?
I think like HOAs.
Okay.
Really dissecting, obviously, looking, into it a little bit more. I love to show properties and talk to the neighbors. And my clients will go, Ryan, you're nuts. Why are you talking to the neighbors? Well, do you want to know what's going on in the neighborhood or not? Do you want to know if somebody's breaking into cars? I was looking at a duplex the other day. I was thinking about for myself, and I'm thinking, and then I called the agent. And he goes, "Hey, sorry, can you see it another day? Both the units got broken into." That was that turned me off. So again, talk to the neighbors. Talk to there was one client I represented a couple of years ago. The seller was already in Japan, and it was the HOA was going up another like $5,000. They had assessments coming up, and that was something that if we wouldn't have found that out through me talking to the HOA president, my client would have got that bill, and that would have been really tough for him.
How come you do that? How come?
Because I believe if you're doing the right thing, if you have the philosophy of treat others like you treat yourself, then why aren't you doing that? I look at every person I represent. If I'm a partner in the deal, I'm partnering with them. I'm in the transaction mentally. Obviously, some of my probably legal team would go, no, remember, but emotionally, that's how I feel. Why not get all the truth out as much as possible?
Why don't we clean it up for the legal team? What you're saying is your intentions are all in the right place, and you're putting yourself in your families and the people you're supposed to serve. Yeah. You're putting yourself in their shoes, and you can tell that, man.
Yeah, and that's what it comes down to. Yeah, take the extra steps to look into things. Do everything you can to. I tell all my clients, do as much research as and again, don't be afraid to invest in your due diligence, because it's really important that you don't come a year later and you're doing huge repairs, or you're finding out things that you really don't want to you can't afford maybe, and it's not in the budget. So I think it's really important, and especially with mellow ruses and HOAs being something that is being somewhat sometimes a big problem right now, and especially with insurance. We have a huge insurance issue. I think that's something that, if you're, a good agent, try to give them as many options as possible. Talk to your lender about what insurance companies are really helping, as much as possible there. And I'm trying to think what other things I would give advice on for real estate broker. And again, I got my broker's license because I wanted to continue to see what else I can learn and do to, make sure that I'm ensuring the best service, but also the most, protection over the client, if I can. And just, I don't know, I'm trying to think what other good ones.
Well, I love your approach to just in business in general, which is put people first.
Yeah,
people over profits.
Yeah. It's gotta be like, you got and that's why I love this business, because I'm getting referrals And I remember when I got my first referral and I was like 24 and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm 24. I got a referral. Like, this is crazy for me that somebody's talking about me, you know? And that's what it's about. And getting that feeling. And gosh, I'll tell you another one of my secrets. When I'm ever having a bad day, I go through my Zillow reviews. And I think of all the people that have,
that's great.
Yeah, no, but seriously, it's all the people that have commented. I've got, you know, dozens and dozens of comments of, you know, people taking the time and to talk about me and endorse me and back me and know that I'm, you know, doing things ethically and morally right. And that's what I live off of.
All right.
You know,
I'm a Ryan fan. And that one part right there, when you go read your client, that just means that you have an emotional connection with all the people that you serve.
Yeah.
And I love that. That's kudos to you, man.
Yeah. Well, that's what it's all about. And I think, you know, the money will come regardless. So the money will come as long as you're doing the right thing.
Always.
So I appreciate you having me on, brother. I really do.
Oh, we're not done yet. Now we're going to jump into we're almost done. Let's jump into the media real quick.
Yeah, let's do it.
So what made you, I would say you're an innovator in our space. Okay. As a real estate professional that also owns a studio.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about my journey. You know, I'm fortunate because I have wonderful partners like Shane Mitchell and Stephen Porter. Yeah. What made you decide like, hey, I'm going to open up a studio, and now all of a sudden I got a real estate professional, I'm an entrepreneur, and I own a studio? What made you go that route when it comes to? Because
I thought it'd be so fun to just collaborate with people. And I love marketing. Marketing is something that I love. That's my passion. I love seeing business owners grow. I actually bought a TV for a nail salon like a couple of years ago just to have advertisements of different people so she could bring in more money into the studio. You know, there's so many ways to make money off of advertising and marketing that I think is just enjoyable. And it's a win-win. Like even, and not to go back to real estate, but when I door knock, it's like, go to the local restaurant and say, hey, if you give me a couple of, you know, $5 off, you know, for your pizzas or whatever, I'll door knock with it. There's no skin off my ass to go out there and, you know, help your business. You know, why not help? You know, it's just, I don't know. And I thought with marketing and having a studio and having a platform where, you know, and I knew the market was going to slow down in real estate. So I thought, why not get into something that'd be enjoyable, where we can, you know, help people. We can give them ideas. We can stay on top of being relevant. You've got to be relevant no matter what business you're in right now. Staying relevant is key to your success.
No doubt about it.
Because if you don't, you are going to, unfortunately, your business will die. So staying relevant is really important. So why, and that's what kind of started the media stuff, is I thought, how can I stay relevant? How can I bring value? How can I connect with more people? And what would be a really cool thing with, you know, everything that we're doing? And you know, it's just a win-win. And obviously Kyle, who's a part of it, you know, he owns a couple businesses himself, and we just thought it would be such a good way to market our stuff as well. It's a win-win, and that's what I love about success. It's a win-win for everybody. Oh yeah, he's got the mayor of East County.
The mayor of East County. Yeah. We'll give him a shout out.
Yeah,
mine as well.
I love him.
My box. I mean, he's got some cool.
He's got incredible ideas, and you know, and there's been some really cool other ideas that he's just, you know, thought of. And again, we just love people. So bringing all these people in, you know, being able to come here to this beautiful studio, check it out. This is what it's all about. And no matter what industry you're in our eyes, there's no competition, because it's not about being competitive. It's about seeing and going, whoa, how cool. Like, okay, you know, it's about collaborating and having the mindset of, you know, we're all playing in the sandbox. And that's what's been so fun about everything that we've done, and especially with the studios and the opportunities and the people we've gotten to meet. You know, there's been so many incredible folks, and it's nice because, you know, we're in downtown La Mesa. A lot of people sometimes don't know downtown La Mesa, so we've been able to bring a lot of people to downtown La Mesa and hopefully help the local businesses throughout there.
Downtown La Mesa has really changed.
Yeah,
it looks. I went for the first time in a while. There's a bar there. I wish I knew the name.
Probably
Regal.
Pete's. Oh, Regal. Yeah, Pete's
Regal.
Yeah,
there you go. Let's give him a shout out. I met the owner. Really cool guy.
Cool people, man. And that's just cool because just even for this studio, you guys are probably doing a lot for, you know, Escondido, bringing more people here. You know, I just think it's such a community thing, and that's what me and Kyle, our hearts kind of go to. Back to the community, and whatever we can do to bring that leadership to whatever communities and help obviously the local nonprofits in La Mesa, helping.
Let's go.
Like just all these different things that kind of bring full circle.
I'm going to share some things that I've taken away and learned from you. So the nonprofits in Escondido, I love what you guys are doing. I've seen it, but it just didn't click until you said it right now. I'm like, oh shit, we're going to do. So the cool thing was when I reached out to you, I said, hey, Ryan, the reason why I want you on wasn't as an agent. There's plenty of real estate agents here.
They're everywhere.
It's the creative, man. The marketing, you could tell you're passionate with marketing. You got the podcast going. The cool thing is you're just not an entrepreneur. You're an entrepreneur that's like, hey, how can I do all these cool things that I can help more people? I can give more back in the community. And that shows that who you meet in person is exactly what you see on social media. Holy shit, bro.
Thanks, brother.
Let's fucking go.
Yeah, it's fun. You know, it makes life so enjoyable. That's why I feel like I'm constantly on a high. You know, that's what's so fun because I feel like that's why I'm so thankful for the studio and just all the opportunities and all the people and creating a space where people can be themselves. And that's what you're creating here. You're allowing people to sit and talk and get their positive message out there. And they're sometimes they're just real ass, truth. And that's what's awesome too, is creating platforms for other people. And that's what we want. We want more people to be more successful. And that's what we want to help generate.
Well, you talked about collaboration, and I think this is the start of a beautiful, bottom line, you're doing great things. You're helping the community in La Mesa. That's what it's all about. You're not taking what you've achieved in life and just being greedy with it. You're sharing it and helping other people enrich their lives. So fuck yeah. Yeah,
that's what it's about. It really is, because I believe it's synergy. And that's also what happened during COVID is it's funny because one of the things I was telling people is it's weird to feel financial pressure kind of from the universe in a weird way, but I'm not financially in any pressured. So it's weird to also be aware of what's going on and how can I help and be solution driven. You've got to be a solution driven person, and you want to just be able to collaborate. And I think a lot of people, and I could be wrong, but they think of real estate, their industry, as a competition.
It's not.
And it's not. And if you are able to take off that layer of the onion of thinking that, just like, hey, when I meet real estate agents, I'm like, cool. I look forward to doing a deal with you. I hope you do 150 deals this year. I hope you crush it. And I hope you're on the other side of it. Instead of, which sometimes I feel the energy of, oh, okay, I'm not going to talk to this guy. Like he's at the party. He's another real estate agent. And that's why when I am out, I don't say I'm a real estate broker, because a lot of people are either in the industry, and it's weird. It's weird that it's a turnoff, and it's weird, and it's a real thing I'm saying. And
right,
because the lending stuff,
it's
weird. It's weird.
I
tell my girlfriend, don't tell. I don't know. It's weird.
I loved when I started this. So I've only done it since 2019. Yeah. Do you know what I've learned? I don't really like the real estate industry at all. I really don't.
Well, it's because it's something.
It does not, the reputation we have, and I say we because I'm not.
I agree.
We have a horrible reputation that's well-deserved. Mm-hmm. And I want to be part of the change and part of the solution. So I'm advocating for people.
Yeah.
And this is where we give people an opportunity to connect with Ryan and say, oh shit, okay, not every agent is money driven. Not every agent wants to show off their success.
Yeah.
Because there's plenty of good agents. There's plenty of bad agents. There's plenty of good lenders. There's plenty of bad lenders.
Oh, totally. No, and then that's in every industry. It's interesting to be in one where there's a lot more flash show and everything else that I've stood next to. I've been, around. And again, I don't know. I guess where I'm at in my life right now, I'm so thankful to continue to just focus on what I got to do and keep my head low. And there's some really shout out to all the great agents and great lenders that are out there that are really just sticking by their clients, that are focused on them. And even if you got to go toe to toe with the lender or the real estate broker that you have, because you can see that they're not representing maybe your clients, but and it's sometimes tough, because I've had to interject and go, hey, I don't think, I don't know much about the loan stuff, but I did, if you're, I don't know, that doesn't sound maybe right, it's
well,
definitely
you're doing your fiduciary responsibility, which is to be an advocate for the people we're there to serve.
Yeah.
And I champion that, and I don't beat around the bush. I have no problem.
Yeah.
One of my least favorite questions is, what's the max pre-approval? You don't need to know that. You really don't.
No.
You don't need to know what the max pre-approval is for any family.
Well, and that's why it's just, and I tell, it's really definitely, and I even tell clients, if you can keep, if you're meeting realtors out in the public, just, obviously there should be definitely transparency from you to them too. But, just make sure that they're not pushing you up the envelope. That's really, scary, because I feel like I've felt some of that, I guess, energy out there where I'm like, they're kind of pushing to go higher. And I'm like, we don't need to, I guess, again, it's whatever. Like, obviously I'm doing the right thing by my client, but do whatever. But, you see that there's not as much negotiation.
Yeah.
They're just kind of throwing out the highest thing. And it's like, wow, and one of the things I was definitely advocating for in COVID, and I still do, is, try to get the counter. There's no reason why you shouldn't be getting a counter. And I don't want to go into too much depth with all this, but again, there should always be counter negotiations, I believe. I don't think you should be the highest one, fully accepted. It's like, and maybe in certain scenarios, yes, but I think, there should, depending on the scenario, totally.
I'm so confident. I'm so confident in what value I bring.
Yeah.
And same thing with you.
Yeah.
Like, you encourage people to interview other agents. And that's confidence, which is, hey, it's fine. Like, if I'm not the right agent for you, I'm not the right mortgage advisor, it is one of the biggest life-changing moments in your life. You should absolutely work with people you trust, and have your best interests in mind, and which is what you champion. So, final thoughts.
Yes.
Who do you want to thank? Who makes Ryan's day better? Who makes your life better? Who gives you the right energy that you want to give a shout out to?
Well, I love my family, my mom, my dad. They're awesome. My whole family's awesome. My girlfriend's amazing. All the people that have been mentors to me. Dr. Marty Fowler, some really incredible people that I just want to thank, and just believing in me, because I didn't have the belief in myself that they had in me. And I really appreciate that. And with all sincerity, I just appreciate, and I tell young people all the time, having an older person giving you life advice is such a gift. And take it, and don't take it for granted, and make sure that you're listening to as many people that have, 3 or 4 times the life experience that you do, and don't take it for granted. So thank you to all the mentors and all the people that have believed in me. So
Ryan Stevens, man, first time we met, and I gotta be upfront with you. Like, what an incredible pleasant surprise. I knew you were a good guy. I just didn't realize what a good guy you were.
Well, thank you.
So I'm so excited to have you on.
Thank you for keeping it real.
You're gonna
I love it.
There you go. So Ryan Stevens, this is not the last time he'll be on here. We're going to definitely have him back. He's doing a lot of cool shit. You definitely want to check out his social media. We appreciate you joining us. And if you got value out of this, please like, share, comment. I'm a huge Ryan fan. Thank you so much,
brother. I appreciate you.